right, Chapter 19. On the night of the school play, the sky was as quiet as a feather falling. It was still and silent, without movement from the wind or snow. I couldn't understand it at all. How could it be so calm when the play was about to happen? Backstage, everyone was running around, getting dressed and putting on makeup. Tin cars were being polished, straw was taped on, and green backdrops were whizzing around. Kathy Small, who played Glinda, had gotten her hair permed just for the occasion. I didn't have much to do. I had already put on my flowered munchkin apron and bonnet. Even though I didn't look like a munchkin, my costume was perfect. Most of the munchkins had used old clothes belonging to their parents or grandparents to make their costumes, but my parents didn't have anything that looked right. So Mom and I went to the store and I picked out a leaf green material with delicate rosebuds scattered on it. It was called calico, which was what the American pioneer girls wore, and it was exactly right for a munchkin. I also had my gift that I was supposed to hand to Dorothy. It was a shoebox covered with sapphire blue wrapping paper and a big red bow. It was completely empty. I could toss it in the air like a balloon. But that didn't matter because Dorothy never ended up opening it, which I didn't think was right. If I were given a gift from a munchkin, I'd open it right away. Melody and I watched everyone rush around. It was as if there was a hurricane happening all around us. "This is why I didn't try out to be Dorothy," Melody told me. "Too stressful." "True," I said, "but it's exciting too. When you're one of us without an important role, it's pretty boring." "You've got an important role," Melody said. "You're the gift-giving munchkin." "Yeah, I'm giving an empty box," I said. "Great present." "Actually, Danny Dog has the biggest role out of all of us," Melody laughed. Danny Dog was Melody's stuffed animal. He was going to be Toto. Becky had volunteered Scruffy, but Mrs. Malone said a real dog would be unreliable, so Melody brought fuzzy chocolate-colored Danny Dog. Most of the time, Danny Dog was carried in Dorothy's basket, so he didn't really get to do much either, though one of the boys did bark off stage to give him a voice. Melody was dressed all in black. All the orchestra was dressed in black, so they wouldn't be too obvious. Melody wanted to wear black makeup too, but Miss Malone said it wouldn't be necessary. "Grace, Melody," Miss Malone said, "get to your places. The curtains will go up in 10 minutes. Melody waved goodbye as she went to the orchestra pit, which was the area in front of the stage. I joined the other munchkins and thought about the play. First, Emma would be in her blue checkered Dorothy costume, which was made from a tablecloth, talking to Toto, Danny Dog, and then the curtains would open and show Oz. Then the munchkins would come and sing, and then I would give the gift. I knew Mom was right, and probably everyone was too busy thinking about their own parts to wonder why there was a Chinese munchkin, but I was still worried. Would they laugh and whisper? I heard clapping from the audience. It was loud. That meant there were probably a lot of people. I tried to smooth out the wrinkled wrapping paper on my gift. Miss Malone beckoned us, and all the munchkins filed through the door and went on stage. Never before did this stage feel so big. I was glad there were other munchkins in front and in back of me. Emma looked so much like Dorothy with her braided hair and blue and white dress that I forgot for a second that I was in a play, and I thought I was watching her on TV. The orchestra played, and the munchkins began to sing. As soon as the song was over, it would be time for me. I opened and closed my mouth, but no words came out. I just looked at the space between Dorothy and me. How many steps would it be? 10? 14? Suddenly, one of the munchkins nudged me. "Grace," the munchkin hissed, "go!" It was time. I walked forward, and there was a bright spotlight on me. I tried to look into the audience, but I couldn't see anyone. I didn't hear anything except for my own breathing. With every step, I got closer to Emma, and she smiled at me. A play smile full of teeth, one for the audience. As she took the gift, I felt like I was giving her a 10-pound rice sack. I curtsied like we had practiced, and as I looked at my shoes, I heard thunder. It was applause for me. No one had laughed or whispered about a Chinese munchkin at all. I smiled into the bright light toward the audience as I headed back to join the rest of the munchkins. The rest of the play floated by like a soap bubble. Once I looked down at the orchestra pit and saw Melody making faces at me. I didn't dare make one back at her, but I couldn't help laughing. I pulled my bonnet over my face so no one could see. After Dorothy clicked her heels 3 times and the play was over, everyone lined up for a bow. The audience gave us a standing ovation. That meant we must have been really good. I bet I had been the best gift-giving Chinese munchkin ever. Chapter 20. When the play was over, everyone was concentrating on the book project. Almost everyone had finished writing his or her stories, and I hadn't even thought of a good idea. I still had writer's block. I knew Miss McCurdy said an idea would come to me, but I didn't want to get a bad grade on the project because of writer's block. But I couldn't think of anything unique about me. I thought about writing about the science fair, like Melody, but since we didn't discover anything, it didn't seem like it was a good idea. I thought about writing about Albert's red egg party, but that was about Albert, not me. When I got home from school that day, I found Mom in the backyard. Spring was here, the snow had melted away for good, and had left everything smelling like a wet towel. The leaves on the trees were just starting to peek out, looking like small emerald ornaments hanging on the branches, and my shoes were coated with mud, as if they had been dipped in chocolate. It was gardening time. "Uh-oh," Mom said. "Grumpy face again. Did something go wrong at school?" "I have writer's block," I told her. "I can't think of an idea to write for my book project. Everyone else is almost done writing their stories, and I haven't even started." Mom said. "Maybe if you help me dig, it'll loosen up your writer's block and give you an idea." "That won't give me an idea," I laughed. "You just want me to help you." Still, I put on my blue garden overalls and helped Mom dig anyway. Mom always needed help with her garden. It was because she grew special Chinese vegetables. It took a lot of time. We would dig and then plant seeds that looked like medicine pills. After that, we would water the whole garden with a hose so much that it looked as if there had been a flood. While we were digging, Mom tried to help me come up with ideas. "Why don't you write about the school play?" she suggested. "Or Chinese New Year." I kept shaking my head. None of the ideas seemed right. I threw the ideas away like we threw the dirt from our shovels. Soon we were both tired and decided to take a rest. "I don't know if I'm more tired from digging dirt or digging for an idea for you," Mom said. "Digging is hard work." "If you planted flowers instead of Chinese vegetables," I told her, "we wouldn't have to work so hard." "But then you wouldn't get to eat your favorite soup," Mom told me. "Do you remember the first time I planted Chinese vegetables?" I remembered. Mom's whole garden had been full of weird-looking Chinese vegetables. They were yellow and bumpy and lumpy. Some of them looked like warty frogs, and some looked like purple sausages. I couldn't understand why she wanted to grow them, but when she made soup out of them, I changed my mind. The soup was so good. Eating it was like swallowing a nice warm hug after being in the cold. "You thought they were ugly vegetables," Mom laughed. "They still are ugly," I told her, "but they taste delicious. Yummy, ugly vegetables." Suddenly, it hit me. Here was a good idea for my book. I could write about the ugly vegetables and me. "You were right," I told Mom. "Digging cured my writer's block." "Good," she said. "Now just imagine what will happen when you help me water."